Thanks for checking out another one of our videos. We've got getting close to 600 videos on YouTube. I don't think we're quite there, but we're getting pretty close. This is February of 2021. Well, there's our information right here. We're a repair place. We work on all brands of electric fence boxes. No matter what brand it is, we'll take a look at it, no matter how old it is. So I started taking this apart. I only removed one screw, but when we got it in here, I don't know how the guy shipped it, but I think he shipped it face up. On the Cyclops units, the red case, they made the early versions like 20 plus years ago were black case units, and you could ship them face up. But this is a red one. It's what they use today, and this one's a 2011 model, so it's 9 years old. They recommend to ship the red case Cyclops face down in the box, because the way that this transformer is positioned in the case, it's bolted to the case, and if you ship it face up, the way that the weight's distributed in there, if it gets shifted and shipping and bounced around, that transformer can shift and break something. And I think that's partly what happened to this. When we got it in here, the case was broken there. There's also cracked there in the front. Cyclops is a pretty decent unit for the money. They don't use very good plastic. They don't have very much UV inhibitors, so over time these things do fade and get brittle and break. So, and also it's broke back here as well. So we're going to take this apart and see. We're going to have to replace the case on this, but I don't think I got a back case probably, but I don't have the front case. Because all the Cyclops units, all the cases are the same. They're the same inside or outside, but the stickers don't come with the cases. You got to put a new sticker on the front, and then you got to move all the guts out of it that are good and reuse them into the new one. It's a bit of a procedure to do, but yeah, it's had water in it. So you see the connection screws that got rust on them. The resistors on here got rust on them. This contact's got corrosion on it. So this has been outside. It's probably why it's so faded, because the sun beat on it for so long, for who knows, 8-9 years, however old this thing is. And that's why it looks the way it does. I mean, look at the lamination plates that got rust on them. So there's no gaskets in these things. You gotta keep them protected. And even up inside here, these little washers that are usually silver looking are now all rusted up. And this wire was unplugged. That's part of your power cord stuff. So maybe that's all that it was. I doubt that, but we can only hope. But I don't know what's wrong with it yet. But we're gonna have to replace some connections on here because they're pretty ate up looking. So probably what we're going to start with is start replacing some connections on it before we start plugging stuff in, because I imagine once we get it running, it's probably going to be arcing in different spots. So we're going to have to put new connections on things and maybe some dielectric grease and everything else. So if you got one of these Cyclops units, you want to keep this from happening, install it inside or put some kind of protective box all the way around it, or you're going to have stuff like this happen. We may not be able to fix the whole entire thing, but maybe we can just at least get it running, because I don't have a case for it, so we're going to have to order that in, which are not super expensive. Not cheap, but they're not super expensive. I found my Dremel tool here, wherever the hell it went. You got it over there? Toss it. Okay. Can't get to it yet. Let's just go with it for now and see what happens. How this unit's laid out, power cord AC version anyways, the power cord comes in here. One side of it goes straight, this is your surge protector board, one side of the cord goes straight to the surge protector board. The other side of it goes to the back to one side of the fuse, and off that fuse goes to the other side of the surge protector board. And then it goes through that board to here, your AC power, and it goes to your board, main power board to power it up. And there's all this other, I mean, these things have 4 primary input wires on it. You got 2 big capacitors right here. And this is where all the magic happens, is in this board here. It's where all the timing and pulsing and clicking comes from. I mean, the discharge, the clicking sound itself comes from the transformer, but the pulsing and timing of it all comes from that first board. So let's plug it in and let's see what happens. Alright, it's not coming on at all. Let's check power coming in and make sure. We'll check here first just to see if we get 120 volts. Yep, 120 volts there. So we've got a board issue to start with. Let's check these capacitors as well. They're not known to go bad. I mean, they do, but not. Usually takes 20 years or better unless something happens to them. But we're going to check the capacitor. These are wired up together, so it should not get anything. But those connections are all ate up looking too. So let's check across the good ones. We're getting like bouncing around there, but it should be 60. The connections are really crusty looking. See all this? I won't focus on it. There it is. See, there's all this crap on them. That's probably why I wasn't getting a good reading, but we're going to clean them up. Alright, let's test it again. And this is 30 microfarad. Test across it. Let's get a better connection right here in those little holes. 29.7, so there we go. So that's good. Let's check. Let's take the wires off of this one. Clean this one up as well. See what it reads. .7. So both capacitors are good. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to place these wires on it. I don't like the way that they look. They just look like crap. So we're going to put new wires on both these capacitors. They have them labeled black and red, but these capacitors technically don't have a polarity, but just for, you know, for working with them and wiring them up, they do wire them black and red, but there's technically no polarity to these type of capacitors. These are pulse grade capacitors. But we are going to, just so it makes it easier for us, we are going to put black and red wire on there because the spots on the board are labeled cap black and cap red, or cap plus, whatever. Probably put some dielectric grease on there as well, so let's do that too. Hopefully help the corrosion. And as we put the wires on there, that it will spread that paste on there as well at the same time. So just that. And then this one's gonna go down to the board. Okay, so we need to be about that long. We need to go get into the board because I think the problem's in this board. So let me go do that real quick before we get too far along with these capacitors. Alright, but I do have a new board, but the bad thing is it's the newer style board and it doesn't work with this setup without adding a bunch of stuff to it, which I don't have. If you look down in here, it's hard to see, but you got these two big black things right here, these SCRs that fire the transformers and everything, capacitors. And it's got those on there, but if you look to the left, all is resistors and diodes on there, and also a little bitty resistor. And I don't have it. It also has this on here. I don't have. It's not on there on this one. So this is the right board for a newer version. So I can't wire this one in there. I have to get the older version. So I'm gonna have to order that in. So I don't have another board here for it. But let's just continue on, and maybe it just had bad contacts. We'll try that out first. Let's see what happens. Alright, I need a jumper wire to tie the two together, because the other one had, like here's the red one, had two connection points in there, and I don't have that. I don't have that like that. I don't have a big enough. Well, I guess I could have put the yellow one on there, but oh well, I've already started it. So we'll just do it a different way, because the contacts, like these two are tied together, and those two are tied together. So I can jump off of this one to that one. It's the same thing as putting two wires in the same spot, inside the connector. So electrically, it's the same thing. So I'm going to plug this on here. That's going to go over to here. Dielectric stuff on there. Capacitor? Yeah. Okay, let me go grab you one. There it goes. I didn't stop it. I didn't. Yeah. All right. That's gonna go. I'll go here. Pull it out. Yes. Probably. Here, there. might still be good. You could test it and see, but it's probably bad. And I would wiggle the cord to make sure it actually tests good. If you wiggle on it, it might go bad. See what this does. I don't think this is going to fix it, but we're going to just turn it on and see what happens. Alright, still nothing. Let's unplug these wires and just see what we can look at the board real quick and see what happens. Look a little closer at it. So don't lose these screws, because this is going to probably be a two-parter video, I imagine. That board's pretty ate up. So you got water in it, and it's all corroded. So those boards. And that diode's broke off, that's why it, see. You can probably put a new diode on there, maybe that's all that's wrong with it, but you can see all this corrosion on there, probably more than just that. But we'll clean it. Alright, let's pull that diode off and solder a new one. I've got ones that will work, some small ones like that one is. Find out where I put it at. Alright, give me just a second to find those smaller diodes. Alright, let's see what we can do with this. It goes on a certain way. Looks like the stripe. So don't forget it's this side, so I'm just going to mark it so I know. Gotta be all that's wrong with it. I mean, that's hope, because that's right across the power cord stuff, so it's a possibility. That's all that it is. So let's do some desoldering and soldering and see what kind of luck we get out of it. this solder joint is completely wore off. So we're going to have to jump our wire from here to there, from there to there. Hey, can you give me a, I might have a piece of, I need a thinner wire. You know, one of those yellow or green ones. There it goes.
They're all done, man.
Good.
That's 4.
I should be able to call him today and get him estimates on those 4 units. Alright, so not the greatest looking, but it's functional. So that solder joint there was bad, so what we did, took a wire here to here. I kind of twisted it around there, solder on it, and that little bit of piece was left over when I made it a little long. I soldered onto that wire and ran it over here to this one, because that solder joint's no good right there. So we just basically created our own path for that. So electrically it's the right way, and we got the diode soldered in the right direction. So, and all these contacts, I mean the board looks okay, but looks can be deceiving. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, this, you see part of the case is still there, laying around. Some of these contacts in this transformer look like crap, especially the ground one for the power cord, and the earth ground for the unit is really corroded. So when we put this case back together, when we get a new case for it, we're gonna have to clean and replace some contacts and stuff, but it's not a big deal. It just takes a little time. So I'm gonna put a couple screws in it just to hold the board in place while I plug wires into it. Okay, so there's the power cords. That one's really crappy, that one. Pretty brittle. Okay, let's see. This one goes there. This one goes. Where is it? This one goes there. This one goes here. This one goes down here. If this solves it, we'll have to do a lot of cleaning, but that might wait to the part 2 video. So let's plug it in, flip the power strip on, and hope like hell it works. So here it goes. Alright, it's working again, but these contacts on this capacitor was arcing real bad right there. But I don't know if you can see it. That light's flashing down inside there. So that means the transformer's good and the output board's good. So the unit's working fine. So what we're going to have to do in part 2 is I might end up replacing the capacitor possibly, because I don't want it to come back arcing and burning something up. So I might end up replacing the capacitor, but we'll see what happens. So board's fixed, going again. It's not arcing anywhere else, but what we will do when we take all the guts out of here and put a new case in it, we will replace all the connections on all the wires and put new ones on there, or whole new wires, one of the two, and then put dielectric grease and stuff on there as well. But it's working. Test the output yet, but if this light wouldn't be flashing if it was transformer was bad, or this board had an issue, or that fuse is blown. So, all right, well, part 2 is going to take a couple weeks probably before we get the parts in here. But there's our information right there. So if you need any help with anything, just get a hold of us. We'd be happy to work on something for you. All the information is down below in the description area, so you can click on the link there and take you right to our website. It's got our address and everything on there as well. But until next time, we'll see you guys later on.